Okay, hi everyone. I'm Stacy, a compulsive eater from Los Angeles, California, and I am the vice chair of the Board of Trustees. And welcome to our third quarterly town hall of 2025. All right, and just to the purpose of the town halls are to the Board of Trustees host the quarterly town halls. Hold on, I'm trying to get this off my screen. Thank you. For the fellowship to ask questions and make suggestions and raise concerns about GSA World Services. And I want to welcome everyone. And let's start by saying the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Okay, thank you.
My will be done.
And if everyone can please mute again, that would be great. And if in the chat, you can please put your name and the role that you have in World Services, your committee, if your intergroup, and email, that would be great. Okay, so I'd like to introduce the members of the Board of Trustees who are here. I'll call on you if you can introduce yourself. So Grania.
Hi, everybody. Grania in Ireland.
Okay, Barbara.
Hi, everyone. Barbara in Boston.
All right, Carla.
Hi, Carla in Spokane, Washington.
Okay, and one of our newest board members, Jessica.
Hi, everyone. So glad to be here. I'm Jessica from Florida, and I'm the phone bridge liaison. Thank you.
Maggie.
So my name is Maggie. I'm from Missouri. I'm absent and grateful and a member of the Literature Committee and a member of the board. And happy to be here. I am representing the Literature Committee today with 3 minutes notice. So hang in with me.
Okay, thank you, Maggie. Am I missing anybody? I don't think so. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So let me go over what the agenda. Well, first of all, we are going, Grania, do you want to explain Wordly?
Yes, thank you, Stacy. I'm Grania, compulsive eater and the chair of the Board of Trustees and the liaison to La Comunidad Hispana, which is our Spanish language intergroup. Today, as you know, we have presentations from 4 of our intergroups, including La Comunidad Hispana, and they are going to present in Spanish. So this quarter, we will all need to activate Wordly. If you want to understand what the Spanish-speaking community is sharing with us and you don't speak Spanish, you'll want to use our AI interpretation software. So the way to do that is to go to the chat. This is the first time that all of us English speakers will be using it. The Spanish speakers have gotten really good at it. It does take some practice, so don't feel like you can't ask questions or ask for help on making sure that Wordly works for you. We're a worldwide community, and we hope to have Icelandic and French and German and Hebrew speakers at our meetings in the future. So we want to be all able to follow along, no matter who's speaking. Thanks, Stacy.
Okay, thank you, Grania, and thank you, everyone. So I'm going to go over the agenda for today. So first of all, we need to get a timer. Did I miss out on who was timing, Grania, or did we get, okay. Is there someone who's willing to time for us today? Great. That's great, Linda. Thank you. So I will tell you, I'm going to briefly just go over the agenda, and then Linda, each time I'll tell you exactly how much. So what we're going to do is the first thing is we're going to open up the hold on one second. Show them the questions. Okay. We're going to open up for questions about world services, and I'll go into that, and feedback, and I'll go into that in more detail. That will be up to 20 minutes. Then we're going to have a special topic, and Barbara L. will talk about the results of the GSA's satisfaction survey. And then we are going to do an update. Oh, I'm sorry, that'll be about 20 minutes. And then an update on the progress of our on our vision and 4 core functions for 20 minutes total. And there we'll have the integrity of the GreySheet program. Grania will speak about that. Literature, that will be Maggie. Public information, we're going to try to play a video from Aaron that he sent, and then website, and that will be Carolyn. And then the presentation by 4 intergroups, that'll be 15 minutes total. And that will be, is it Connecticut, Foam Bridge, Northeast, and Comunidad España. And then we're going to, that's 15 minutes. And then 5 minutes, we'll do a report on 7th tradition. And then there's announcements, and then we'll do closing. So that's just the 40,000 foot view. All right. So we're going to.
Sorry,
Stacy.
Stacy.
Yes.
Patricia is here as our social media manager, and she's a public information function. So after we try to watch the video from Aaron, depending on my tech skills, we will turn it over to Patricia for an update on our social media.
Excellent.
Public
Thank
information.
you. Okay. Okay. So, so the first thing that we'll do is up to 20 minutes, and we're going to limit. So this is your opportunity to ask questions and to provide feedback and offer suggestions to the members of the Board of Trustees. If we know the answer, if there's someone here that can answer that question, I'll do my best to answer, or I'll direct you to the board member who can answer that question the best. If we cannot answer the question today, then we will make sure to research it or do what we need to do. And then how are we going to provide that, Grania?
On our Facebook group.
On our Facebook group, you'll be able to get the answer to that question. It's important that everybody note that these are questions about world services. So each group and each intergroup are autonomous. So if there's questions about, I don't like how my group does this, or what do you think about this with my meeting, or something about the intergroup, we have nothing to do with that. Unless it affects GSA as a whole. So what we're doing here is answering questions about world services. So does anyone have any questions about what the kind of the limits here? Okay, so this is going to be 20 minutes, and if you can raise your electronic hand, that would be great, and I will do my very best to answer your questions. Grania, were there any questions submitted ahead of time?
Not that I know of, and people can submit directly to chair@greysheet.org, or if you want to remain anonymous, you can submit to communication@greysheet.org, which goes to Joey, who's the chair of the communication committee, and he will pass it to us anonymously, but I have not received any questions.
Okay, great. Hold on one second. Okay. Okay. So if you want to raise your electronic hand, we can answer whatever we can answer. I want to be respectful of your time and not waste time. So if there's nothing that you'd like to ask right now, or that you can think of right now, we can always just allot that time for the end. Maybe that's what we should do. Okay. All right, let's do that. So thank you, Linda. Let's go ahead and go to the special topic. It's going to be 20 minutes, and it's Barbara L. And Barbara, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Stacy. Good morning, everybody. I'm Barbara L. from the Boston area. Happy to be here this morning. And I did this presentation 3 months ago, and I was asked to do it again. So apologies if there are any double people here, but I will try to be as concise as possible. And of course, always available for questions. I have been abstinent since April 30th of 2005, and this is not a qualification, so don't get scared. But I became a member of the board in April of 2023. And I had been active in my home group, which is Cambridge/Watertown, for my entire abstinence, both live and then especially during COVID, we put 4 meetings online. But this had and is my first service position on the board. And I, admittedly was one of those people who was like, I'm not touching it. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm just weighing and measuring my food and just leave me alone. And, as the community has changed, especially with COVID, not as many live meetings and lots of satellite weighing and measuring, just was curious about what was the shift and what was going on. And, I had heard some rumblings like, it's so this and it's so that. And so when I started on the board, apologies if there's some background noise, one of the things I initially brought with some other board members was, let's just take a pulse of like what is going on in the community and what the perception is. And, we could all debate perception versus reality, but it almost doesn't matter because the perception is what we're all feeling. So we decided just to create a very brief survey. I want to point out that even in the beginning sentence, which said there has been some, notifications to the board about feeling uncertain about the structure of the World Service, something about that. So that leading sentence obviously sort of slants the survey to begin with, which we were very much aware of. So I want to just say that at the beginning, it was a little biased towards, people expressing their concern. Having said that, and I will go into the details of the results, there were people who were extremely content and even returned the 5-question response with complete, everything's fine, I love it, we need this in order to stay abstinent. So I just really want to present this in a fair way to everybody. So first, the last session, I thanked people for responding because we received 253 responses, which was we were thrilled about that given the size of our community. And it just speaks to the thoughtfulness and the commitment that we all have to keeping the gray sheet around, and how, this is nothing about the food plan. We are not changing that food plan, but how can we listen to the community in terms of creating, reaching more people. And you'll hear that hopefully in the video if it works, but just like, how can we spread the message? So we had a committee of 3 board members, and those board members split the responses equally. They each took 75 responses, looked at the responses, and compiled findings based on number of years abstinent, any prior service. We did focus mostly on the final question, which is, are there any additional concerns, such as with GSA new initiatives, that you would like to express? And we really encouraged, positive and negative comments. And we got both. So let me just say, I'm using my same material from 3 months ago. I am the furthest thing from a statistician that you will ever encounter. I'm a creative type, not a math type, but we did just analyze in terms of the number of years people were abstinent. 10% of the responses were from people between 0 and 1 year abstinent. Sorry for the background noise. 25% were between 1 and 5 years abstinent. 50% were between 5 and 15 years abstinent. 15% between 15 and 40, and 10% 40 plus. So it was really quite a like an array of responses. I'm going a little bit out of order, but what I did want to do before talking about the findings is to read a letter that one person has given permission for us to share. And again, this was completely anonymous, just so you know. However, it happened to come in on someone's email where, it's sort of based on an email. So I just wanted to make sure it was okay to share it. And she said yes. So bear with me. It's just a couple of minutes. I'm going to take it slowly. But the reason I'm reading it is because this pretty much sums up what the consensus was. As a GSR, I have dutifully shared the resolutions with my home group and invited members to discuss them. In practice, this has meant that most members have little or no interest, and the members who engage in the conversations still see the resolutions as something distant from their immediate lives. As a new participant in GSA's, GreySheet Anonymous World Service, I find that I am impressed by the organization and dedication of the people who have been doing this work for over 2 decades. However, there is still a real divide between the concept of world service and local GreySheet life. The more I learn about GSA's, the more I respect it and how much it has accomplished. Yet there is still a disconnect between the larger organization and the people it serves. GreySheet abstinence is very close to the earth acquiring food, preparing food, eating food 3 times a day, day after day. The success of the program rests on the fact that the individuals and groups remain focused on our primary purpose of attaining and maintaining abstinence in ourselves and sharing it with others. I don't think we feel that GSA's is part of that primary purpose. So, it basically encapsulated, as I was saying, the findings, which I'm just going to give some bullet points. I really didn't think I was going to be talking. I know I have 20 minutes, but I want to use that for questions. Here are the greatest hits. Positively, I feel safe that there is competent leadership and GSA's is a smoothly run entity. That came up very frequently. Concerns. Time management, number of meetings, unnecessary meetings. I feel like I can't serve on GSA's until I retire because it feels like it entails attending so many meetings and trainings. Too structured, registering and re-registering, stressful in terms of time and task requirements, not focusing enough on spreading the message, does not feel like, again, perception, a bottom-up organization. Feels like it has become a business model inconsistent with our small community. So again, I just want to reiterate, we're aware that the wording and even the purpose of having this survey to begin with was going to generate these types of responses. Having said that, we all felt on the board very strongly that these are important things to look at. And if we even noticed a drop in service prior to this survey. So what can we do, so that we don't have gaping holes in the service community? We all know that doing service helps us to stay abstinent. So what's going on that there has been such a drop off? And this is where already, since the survey came back and we had done the analysis, the point is this board, which is an incredibly strong board, thanks to Grania and Stacy and every other board person who is on here. And a shout out to Cheryl for thank you for now being our secretary. And if anybody knows of a good treasure, the door is open. But we're listening, and that's what we wanted the community to know. So I was one of those people grumbling. I'm just going to say, and the way that the board has responded to these concerns makes me so hopeful about the future of this group and that it's not going anywhere. We have already, just a few already since this came in. We've already moved the chair in ISR's meeting and many of the committee meetings to quarterly now. They used to be every single month, and we realized that was a little bit too excessive. We are making it clear there was a myth out there that a GSR had to become part of a committee. We said, oh, let's use this in the ways that we're showing our improvement. But the truth is, it was never the case. So it's important to make that clear. We have hired a professional social media consultant. Thank you, Patricia, who is focused solely on spreading the message. And soon, Patricia and the Public Information Committee will be working really closely at how can we, and I know that Patricia works with Carolyn, our new website committee chair. So these things are really starting to take hold. As I mentioned, public information, it's now reinstated. It was dormant for a while. Admittedly, it's still been a little slow getting started, but you'll hear the chair of that committee will do a little video presentation and just update everyone. It's gaining traction, and we need more people and we need more ideas, but it's happening. Thank you, Carolyn. The website committee is going gangbusters on listening to what the community is saying, coming up with ideas. We haven't voted or it's not official, but Wikipedia and, just all of these conversations about how can we spread the word. And then one of the suggestions again on the board, we're always talking about ways that we can address some of the concerns. How can we don't get scared, Mindy, as the head of the conference committee, but, just, switch that up a little bit. And instead of every year, even though the reality is we don't meet all that, long, but it's like save the entire day for the meeting, maybe having an official meeting so we can maintain our nonprofit status, but Who's timing? I really want to make sure there's time for questions, Linda.
You have 5 more minutes.
Okay, and questions, I can have that after?
Yeah, we're gonna allow 10 minutes for
Okay.
questions after, since we
No,
didn't have
that's
a
great.
lot of.
I'm just like, getting so excited. I'm afraid I'm gonna just, So I really feel hopeful given the state of the board, and although there will be a transition and coming up in the fall, that we are going to maintain this momentum. I think that none of us, we do all feel the sense of like, it feels almost like dwindling. Many of us, I'll speak for myself, are getting older. We need to figure out a way to bring new people in. But back to the survey. We did not do this survey just to have the information. We are really addressing some of the issues and already have addressed some of the issues. So I actually think that I am done. So with that, I welcome any questions. And just, I feel very honored to be a part of this board. And I was, as I said, to come full circle, no, I wasn't getting involved. I was not touching any type of organization with the 10-foot pole. And yet here I am. So thank you. This is not part of my spiel, but I just want to shout out to Grania, because I know this is your last, and I'm sure Stacy will say something, your last official town hall. And, just thanks for your incredible leadership for these many years. And that's all I got. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Because we have some time from the beginning part where we didn't use it 20 minutes, if you can time this part for Linda for 10 minutes, if there are any questions for Barbara, if you can raise your electronic hand. Okay. Or what we'll do, this is what we'll do. Well, okay, well, yes, Elisa.
When nobody raises their hand, here I am. Thank you so much. That was a great presentation. I'm Elisa, and I do what we all do with tremendous gratitude. I actually have a comment, which is about, so you're saying that you can be a GSR and you don't have to be on a committee. So I guess the question is, can you be a delegate without being on a committee? And also, I want to say that you can, if you are not a GSR, you can be a volunteer on a committee. So, that takes some pressure off. And that's my comment and question.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm going to defer to Stacy on the, structure.
Sure. Yeah, that's a very good question. So all GSRs, when the GSRs where their groups are registered with the World Service Conference, GSRs of registered groups are all eligible as delegates to the World Service Conference. So, so you do not need to be a member of the committee to represent your group at the World Service Conference meeting. Does that answer your question? Okay. All right. Any other questions? Mindy, and then Maggie.
Thanks
Oh,
for
Mindy.
getting us started, Alyssa. I'm Mindy Compulsive Eater, grateful. I have a comment. That is something new. This year, you always had to be on a committee. So I think you said, Barbara, that you didn't have to. No, that was one of the positive changes. But for years, you had to be on a committee, and we were emailing delegates, Linda and I, what committee. I was emailing the committee chairs. but that's recent. So I think that when you read the letter about the disconnect, I think there is a big disconnect between World Service and groups because I don't think the information gets communicated, even though it's part of the GSR's role, to do. I just feel that, and recently, Grania made the meetings, or the board voted for the meetings quarterly. That's a great positive change because everyone was getting overloaded. I think there needs to be just a little more communication in general, like more emails, less meetings and more communication. Does that make sense? Um, because, groups really are very distant from World Service unless they want to progress, you know what I mean? And go follow the trajectory to different service. You know what I'm saying? I don't think if I just went to meetings and I wasn't active in World Service, I would know any of this. So,
Okay, I appreciate that, Mindy. I just want to make I just want to say that it was, I think this is the perfect example of the misperception
correct.
that it has never been a requirement for a GSR to attend the World Service Conference meeting as a
Correct.
delegate to be on a committee. The reason why is that each group is autonomous. A group can decide whether or not to lead the business meetings and not be part of the intergroup, to be part of the intergroup also, and to register as a delegate to the World Service Conference. The only requirement to be a delegate to the World Service Conference as a GSR is if it's a registered group. But the GSR never had to be on a committee, and it was always suggested. But I think that the challenge is that all of this is if you go back and look at the actual resolutions that were passed, it says in the resolution, it's a suggestion, but then I think it's like a game of telephone, and then it becomes people's reality, and perception is reality. So I just want to just say, just be very transparent that that's what that you didn't need to be, but it obviously was not communicated in a way that someone as active as Mindy would know that. So
No,
that
Stacy, I have to strongly disagree with you. I'm not going to argue with a lawyer. There's no way. But this was suggestion, fine. Everything's a suggestion. We suggest 3 meals a day. This was so much more than a suggestion, that we were taking attendance and asking people what committee they were on and saying they had to be on a committee. So we don't have to discuss this because we know what it is now, but all the work we did on following up on committees was, quite frankly, a waste of everyone's time. But I'm just curious, who is on committees? Anybody, right? Anybody in GreySheet can join a committee.
yeah
90 days, right?
yeah, with 90 days of back-to-back GreySheet abstinence, you could join as a volunteer. And
Mhm.
then the committee, and then if you're a GSR, you could be a voting member. And then
Mhm.
some committees allow volunteers to be a voting member. So did that answer your question? Anyone in GreySheet can join a committee as a volunteer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now we all have a lot of volunteers, but we don't have a lot of GSR/delegates. So can volunteers vote?
That's up. Oh, that's an answer is no.
Can volunteer, no, not at the World Service Grant. Can volunteers vote on the committee when the
No.
committee has a proposal? So
No,
how do you vote on a committee if you have no GSRs or ISRs?
that's a problem.
That's a problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't.
It's quite clear in the resolution to be the committees are the conference functioning throughout the year. So the committees are the conference working throughout the year. Because clearly we cannot do the work in 4 hours on a Sunday or even 3 days on a weekend. That's not how the work of World Service gets done. It gets done throughout the year by groups of us who are delegates coming together in committees and making decisions. But if you weren't elected by the fellowship as a delegate, then you don't have the mandate to make those decisions. You don't get to vote on those decisions. As a volunteer, you can participate in the discussion, you can help do the activities, but you cannot make the formal decisions of the conference in the committees.
Yeah. Okay.
Stacy,
Right.
I have a minute and a half left.
Thank you. Maggie, did you have a question?
You pretty much answered it, but I did want to give a shout out to the volunteers on our committees. We have some wonderful volunteers and they are important and vital members of the committees. So I just wanted to shout out on that score.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments for Barbara? Okay, all right. So then thank you for, Marcia.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Barbara, thank you so much for your presentation. I learned so much about public information.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next piece is 20 minutes, Linda, and it's an update on the progress of our vision and 4 core functions. When anyone, anywhere realizes they have a problem with food, they think of the GreySheet solution. And we have the integrity of the GreySheet, literature, public information, and website. And before I move on to that, I just, again, Barbara, thank you so much for you and your committee and the time that it took to do that and for your presentation. Thank you. Okay, so integrity of the GreySheet. I will turn it over to Grania for 5 minutes, Linda.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Linda. I'm still Grania, still a compulsive eater. I'm just gonna put Marcia's hand down there. Hold on a second. And as the chair of the Board of Trustees, I'm reporting to you on the first of our core functions. So we have a vision for what is the purpose of World Service. The purpose of World Service is to accomplish our vision. Our vision is that when anyone, anywhere realizes they have a problem with food, they think of the GreySheet solution. You can't think of the GreySheet solution if you've never heard of it. So basically our mission is the whole world needs to know that GreySheet exists. And we have 4 core functions that do that: literature, website, public information, and protecting the integrity of the program so we have something to pass on when somebody hears about us. So that's primarily the role of the Board of Trustees. And mostly it's sort of a fuzzy, kind of squishy topic, because what does it mean to protect the integrity of our program? So very clearly we have to have a GreySheet that we own, so that we have the copyright and that we protect the copyright so that nobody can alter it and publish it and say this is the GreySheet and confuse people and divert people, have people think that it doesn't work because it's been changed or altered in some way. So we have to protect the copyright. So a lot of that work was done in early years, and these days a lot of what we do is just make sure that the organization, our service structure, follows the decisions of the World Service Conference in how we distribute the GreySheet. And that goes back to our founding principle that the GreySheet comes with a sponsor. So the only way to get a GreySheet is to get a sponsor. And we only distribute GreySheets to qualified sponsors. And how do we know who's a qualified sponsor? World Service is too far distant from the sponsors, so we do it through intergroups. So we hope that the intergroup organizations know who in their region or in their community is a qualified sponsor and can be given gray sheets to distribute to sponsees. So we continue to distribute gray sheets to intergroups when they ask for them. And Mary B., who was a previous chair of the Board of Trustees, is the person who distributes those to intergroups. So if you need a supply of gray sheets, you need to go to your intergroup and ask your intergroup for them. And if they need them, they can go to Mary and they email foodplan@greysheet.org. And that's going along pretty smoothly. The other thing, so that's sort of the concrete protecting the integrity. And then the more squishy part is we just our job is to keep an eye on how we are working together. Are we following the steps, traditions, and concepts that comprise our program? And so, for example, in the last quarter, it's important that we have trustees on the board who work collaboratively, who are familiar with the concepts and try to follow the concepts. And the number one underlying principle of the 12 concepts for 12 service is that we are a top-down, what do you call it, a bottom-down organization, an inverted triangle. So we take our direction from you, the fellowship, via the elected delegates to the conference, and we don't make independent decisions as a board. We don't just decide to change things because we don't like them or because we think it's better a different way. We follow what the conference has decided. And so we recruit board members like Cheryl, like Jessica.
1 minute left.
Thank you, Linda, who understand that and who are willing to work with that in that model. And I'm happy to announce that Cheryl has been elected as our secretary for the next 3 years, starting in October. And when I rotate off the board in October, Marvin has been elected as the incoming president and chair of the Board of Trustees. So Marvin, who's unable to be here today, will be our new chair. And let me see, I've got about 20 things here. Well, it's too hard to put it all in 1 minute. So one thing that we've tried to do is be available to people outside the fellowship, and we're responsible for being responsive. And we have the phone number that is published on the website and the email address that is published on the website for outsiders to reach us. I see that, Linda, thank you. And we will be transitioning that to a new person after I transition off the board. Somebody else will be taking over that role of welcome contact so that we are personifying the program, which is responding to people who are asking for help. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Grania. All right, for literature, Maggie.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maggie. I'm a compulsive overeater. I'm an overeater, and I do what you all do, and I'm grateful to be here, and I'm for filling in for our worthy leader, Sharon, with 3 minutes notice. So please bear with me, as I said. First off, I'd like to start with the Literature Committee's mission is to ensure that every aspect of the GSA program of recovery is presented in written form for our members, friends, professionals, and the world at large. Our primary purpose is to help another compulsive eater gain and maintain GSA recovery. The GreySheeters Anonymous World Service conference-approved literature process ensures that GSA material is, one, identifiably gray sheet in content according to GSA's 12 steps, 12 traditions, and 12 concepts for world service. 2, responsive to identified needs of the fellowship. 3, factually accurate. 4, timely. And 5, understandable to a broad-based audience. And right now, these are the things that we've got. These are the irons that we've got in the fire. Right now, we have a book called Sharing the Solution, which is a group of letters that were edited from a member of GreySheet to her sponsee. And that book is, we have made minor changes, and it is being presented to the board for final approval. We're looking at different covers. We're looking at formatting and publishing it. And that project is almost into the pipeline. It will be available through Ex Libris, and you will be able to order it on our literature page, which we have a literature page. If you haven't checked it out, please go there. We have a lot of good stuff on there. There is in process the project, the Newcomers Booklet and Overview of GreySheeters Anonymous. And that is in the final stages with the literature committee, about to go to the board for final approval. And that will be available as a booklet on the literature page. Another project that we have in process is we're soliciting member stories for GreySheet.org website, and we're working in conjunction with the website committee. We are, right now, we're going one-on-one to members, and hopefully the members will announce it to their groups. We're looking for stories of experience, strength, and hope, about 750, 1,000 words. That's about a page and a half. And this will help our SEO optimization. We are working on the history book. The history book has again been taken up and is in process. That is, they are making a project plan to expedite it, including a detailed task list showing dependencies. And forgive me for, I have an emergency electrical that is somewhat dangerous, and my dogs are alerting me to that. Forgive me. The translations progress. Sorry. The translations are, Sharon has those well in hand. We have Bulgarian GreySheet, Bulgarian.
Maggie.
What? 1 minute. The German GreySheet, the Hebrew 12 and 12 steps, the Hebrew GreySheet, the Icelandic 12 steps and 12 traditions, the Polish GreySheet, the Polish clarifications and sponsor guidelines, the Spanish living abstinent, viviendo abstinente, the Spanish GSA 12 and 12. All of those translations are on the boards. We're working on them. They are in process, and we are grateful to our many non-English speakers for working on that. And that is, we have a couple of recent things that have just gone on to the literature committee page. That's it. Committees, the heartbeat of GSA, and French, a solution for compulsive eaters. Those are up there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you very much. Any questions for Grania or for Maggie before we move on to public information? Okay, all right. So now we are going to attempt to play a video. Oh, yes, Jessica. You're muted, Jessica.
Sorry. Not that it needs to be addressed now, but I was just wondering if there will be anything regarding virtual handout of the GreySheet for the phone bridge and Zoom meetings for sponsor-sponsee relationships, and include any sort of sponsor-sponsee pamphlet or anything that can be delivered virtually to our members. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to answer that, Maggie, or did you want me to answer that?
Could you answer that, please?
Sure.
I appreciate it.
So if I heard your question correctly, the gray sheet itself, the conference voted to have an electronic version of the gray sheet. So we have an electronic version of the gray sheet. We also have an electronic version of the clarifications, the clarification document. And I don't know. I do know that we have some information on the website about sponsors and sponsees, but I know that the electronic version of the gray sheet is the actual gray sheet itself. It doesn't have any anything that your sponsor would do to say, you know, it's not two pieces of this, it's whatever it is, or adding a fat or whatever. That's all between you and your sponsor, but just exactly how the gray sheet looks is what's on the electronic version. Did I answer your question?
Yes, completely. So as for the phone bridge intergroup, we would just track how we hand those out.
Yes,
Because
but I'm sorry. It still goes from sponsor to sponsee though.
yes,
Yes.
yes. But with the you know, the paper one, it comes from intergroup to the sponsor, or, you know, mailed to the sponsee, so it's tracked. And, you know, I can ask you later because I know we're on a time crunch. Would we just track how intergroup would send it to sponsor and sponsee? But that's a question I can wait for another time. I just wanted to put it out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Marcia?
Excuse me, Stacy, am I giving these questions 5 minutes?
Why don't we do 2 minutes total, and then we'll move on to the next.
Oh, then it's 2.5 minutes already, so.
Okay, let's do 2 more minutes for questions. Marcia?
Yeah, my question is also regarding getting access to the gray sheet. I've had people reach out to me on the phone bridge asking for the gray sheet, and I don't have the paper version, and I do not know how to get them the electronic version. And when I went on the website a couple of days ago, it had contact your phone bridge representative, which is me. I don't have any of them, the paper version. And then there was an email also. So it's kind of confusing.
Yes,
It's
I hear
confusing for
you.
me, and it's also confusing for the members of the bridge to
Okay.
get access to it.
Thank you. So I'm going to turn that over to Grania to answer that question about how to get the actual paper version if you're a sponsor, and how to get the electronic version.
Thank
And
you,
then after that,
Stacey.
we'll move on.
Thank you, Marcia. So I'm going to put in the chat the address of the page on the website that has the instructions for intergroups to order the gray sheet from Mary. So right there in the third paragraph, intergroup officers, usually the ISR, can email foodplan@greysheet.org to request copies of the Gray Sheet food plan and the Gray Sheet abstinence clarifications and sponsor guidelines. So it tells you what to include when you email her and ask her for that, you know, the shipping information, etc. And the same applies to the electronic gray sheet. Mary will give you a copy of the electronic gray sheet for distribution. Obviously, once you have a digital copy, you don't have to get more. You just have one, and then you can send it to as many people as you think are sponsors and need it to give to their sponsees. Does that answer your question, Marcia?
Thank you. Yes, it does.
Okay, great. So now we're going to move on to public information. I believe it's a approximately 3-minute video from Aaron. And Linda, if you can just let us know when 5 minutes are up. And Grania, are you able to do that?
Well, that is a great question. So it's never happened before. I'm going to play the video that Aaron sent to us right before the meeting by sharing my screen. And can you see Aaron's face now? Can you see Aaron?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna see how the sound comes out. I don't know if this is gonna work.
Hi guys, this is Aaron, compulsive eater, like you all today. I have 3 weight and measure meals to stay abstinent no matter what. I'm sorry I couldn't attend real time. I'm sending this video in advance in the hopes of someone sharing it at the town hall today. My wife decided to invite all of my cousins over for a pool party today. And thanks to this program, I could stay abstinent while behind a barbecue and jumping into and out of a pool. So thank you all for your service to help me live a pretty fun life now. On the Public Information Committee at our last meeting, we voted unanimously in favor of sending members of GreySheet, which probably will be members of the Public Information Committee, but others, to the World Service Conference of Alcoholics Anonymous in 2026 and New York City General Conference of Alcoholics Anonymous in April, which is in New York City. And we'll be reaching out to GreySheet members to get people to volunteer to join Public Information Committee members at those conferences. The last meeting, the Public Information Committee unanimously approved for the Public Information Committee members to begin experimenting with artificial intelligence programming, AI programs, to help make videos, 15 to 30-second videos that we could utilize quickly and efficiently to generate content for our website and social media platforms. Next meeting will be the second Saturday in August. So at that point, members will come back and we will review, and every member of the Public Information Committee will have an opportunity to provide their feedback, and it'll be a learning process. At the next meeting, we'll also be having a discussion that was raised by a new Public Information Committee member about a general high-level picture about what we want our communications to look like and feel like. So we'll be having that discussion as well. And some members of the Public Information Committee are now writing brief stories of their stories that will be published on the World Service website. That's all I have for now. Things got to a slow start with the Public Information Committee this year, and that had everything to do with me, and I own it. And I'm in the process of making my 9th step amends by making living amends and making the changes I need to dedicate the time that's necessary for this committee to thrive and for us to get the word out. So appreciate everyone's patience, and we'll continue marshaling on and look forward to seeing you guys all at the New York City Roundup. And for those of you who are men, looking forward to seeing you at the men's retreat in October. All right, no matter what, everybody.
Oh my goodness, that was awesome. Talk about dedication. Thank you, Grania, for sharing that. And thank you to Aaron. I know he's going to actually watch this to find out what else happened here. Okay. And Barbara, if you can let Aaron know that it worked. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carolyn, abstinent and grateful. I do what you do. My abstinence date is January 25th, 2001. So glad to be here. So the website committee just reconstituted itself in March. So we're new, but we're trying to make an impact. I would say we have 2 big initiatives, one external and one internal. But first, let me just read what the vision statement is for the website committee. GreySheet.org is on the first page of search results when anyone anywhere searches online for a solution to their food problem. GreySheet.org provides the most frequently sought answers for those suffering and those seeking to help them. GreySheet.org makes it easy for someone to get started on their GreySheet abstinence. So I would say that that very first one about how we're on the first page of search results is incredibly aspirational, just unbelievably aspirational, but it's always good to have goals. so toward that end, our external initiative is we want to create a Wikipedia page about GreySheet that would be an authoritative, neutral source of information on the GreySheet on the internet, which is where most people go to look for information nowadays, and would also alert Google to our website, because the way Google works for or in other search engines work is they judge a website by how many other websites link to it, particularly authoritative websites like Wikipedia. So we have submitted a proposal on this, and it has been passed by the chairs and ISRs. It has been passed by the Board of Trustees, and next it will go to the World Service Conference. And if it passes, then we will move forward with it. There is, I will, say right away, the potentially controversial or issue here is, once Wikipedia is not totally under our control. It's a worldwide collaborative encyclopedia. People can go in and make edits. And even more importantly, the Wikipedia editors can make edits. So, we've written an entry. We have to work to annotate it with sources, both our own sources, but we do need external sources for validation. That's a big part of the Wikipedia process. I've been in communication with, I don't know if people know Dr. Vera, who wrote the introduction to the GreySheet 12 and 12, who actually has written several articles that are authoritative outside sources that we can use for this purpose. We do want to reference our own literature and our own website as much as possible because of the SEO, but Wikipedia will not accept our entry unless we have authoritative outside sources. So that is moving forward. In terms of internal initiatives, as many of you know, more than 2 years ago, the board hired Sally G to redo the calendar and registration system. The calendar, the biggest obvious change would be that it would now appear in your local time zone. So if you go in and say, show me all the meetings right now, or at 8 o'clock, it doesn't show you, here's a meeting at 8 o'clock in Israel, here's a meeting at 8 o'clock in Iceland, here's a meeting at 8 o'clock in New York, and none of those are your time zones. So you have to sit there and do the math and figure it out. The registration system might not seem as sexy, but that's really important too, because up till now, when groups went to re-register, they had to type in all their information again from scratch. So the idea is that when you go to re-register or just change the time of your meeting, you'll get a pre-populated forum and you only have to change what's changing. So Sally has been working hard on this, and we are at the point where in the last week or so, some members of our committee started testing the new registration system. We've discovered some glitches and bugs, which we've told Sally about, and she is working on them. According to her, that this is all going to be ready in 2 weeks for prime time. We will see if that does happen, but I guarantee you there is going to be a learning curve and some pain when it comes out there. But ultimately, the results should be so much better for our membership. The one other, another thing I wanted to quickly mention, I'm almost out of time. I just want to encourage people to use the website more. Go on the website. There's a search feature. There's a new feature at the top, a banner that says what's happening. I was thrilled in our chat on WhatsApp this morning. Somebody said, is there a town hall? And somebody else said, oh, I looked on the website and I saw it on the banner. And that's what it's supposed to be for, is to tell you, what's happening. There's a new piece of literature. There's a new meeting. There's a new this. There's a new that. So I encourage people to, my time's up, to use the website and send feedback to website at greysheet.org of issues you find or suggestions you have to improve it. Thank you.
Awesome, Carolyn. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Stacy, Patricia's back and can.
Oh, I'm
do
so
the
sorry. I'm
social
so
media.
sorry.
Mhm.
Oh, yes. Okay, Patricia.
Yeah. Oh. All right. So what I've been doing, I've been only able, with the time I have, I only have a certain amount of time each month that I get paid for. So I have been careful to steward that well. I've only been able to touch 2 different social media outlets, and I prioritized Facebook and I prioritized YouTube. YouTube is the most popular social media outlet on the planet. Things are going towards video. Just Facebook is less of a desired, and it tends toward an older crowd. But I'm on there anyway because it is still very popular. I'm doing 3 posts a week. I vary the days to capture different schedules. I actually post them in my morning because I have to turn off the default is for people to be able to comment on it. So in order to turn that off per GreySheet direction given to me, I need to post it while I'm still at my home computer, and I do that in the morning. There are followers, obviously, and I can see the names of the followers. A lot of them are people already in GreySheet. There are some names that I don't recognize that may not be. So that's a good sign. But I wish, you'll hear this from me. I wish there were more that weren't already in the program. And I do have, if there's time, I'll tell you about a nice story that I think someone attracted, that it attracted someone in, and now they're doing GreySheet. So I'm also seeing that some members, GreySheet members, are sharing their posts, and this helps quite a bit and increases our search engine optimization in the viewership. You can see from the stats that we get some follows. There's not a huge amount. There's a 111. There have only been a few unfollows. Views have gone up and down. I can't I don't have enough information to tell you why they go up and down. I think the views have increased since we started, but you can see June was slightly down, July as of last night. The reach is an interesting stat. I'm not going to go into that unless you really want to know, but it's how many unique users have seen the content per month. And I can't total that because you can't, it's not a linear type of thing. Interactions, we don't have interactions except for likes and other little icons. So that's what that means. Link clicks, this is probably the whole point of having the social media was to send people to our website. So honestly, these numbers for me are very low. We want people to go through all the way to the website, and visits are started out strong, and I think that's because when this first started, I was heavy on meetings, typing in all the time, visit the website, or visit Facebook, and people were on quite a lot, and you can see it's gone down a little bit. I wanted to show you what our top posts are. We have one on the left, the top gifts from the food program. In the middle, I thought this was interesting. It was the second most viewed since inception has been the link to the YouTube page. So it just goes to show you that people are interested in seeing more engaging content and things like that. And then I also thought the third one was interesting because this one was sort of like my, like everyone is welcome. This one's about inclusion and belonging and are you welcome here? So that one was interesting to see that as one of the top posts.
Excuse me, Patricia, that's 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, for the Connecticut intergroup, is Sue here or is someone, Mindy?
I'm Mindy, a compulsive eater. I'm filling in for Sue, who's the intergroup rep. She had a prior commitment. So Connecticut's a fabulous intergroup. They have 2 successful retreats every year. One is a 1-day and one is a weekend. The 24th, 25th, 26th is coming up of April, and registration will be available in late December, early January. The 1-day retreat is in March, and it's in Westport at a church. Connecticut Intergroup has 9 online Zoom meetings and one in-person meeting on Saturday morning. At the 2025 Connecticut retreat, there were 82 GreySheeters, and a lot of people got abstinent on that retreat, and I actually see one of them on this meeting. So get your sponsees to come. The Zoom meetings are Monday to Saturday. There are 6 in the morning. Wednesday night Fairfield, Monday night Greenwich, and Saturday live Westport, face-to-face. Since 2020, the Connecticut retreat has donated $23,475.69 to World Service. And as soon as we have the intergroup meeting in August and we vote, another $3,200 is coming World Service's way. They only leave a prudent reserve for $380 for things like the Zoom cost and I guess rent at the church for the Westport meeting and things like that. And they give everything away. And that's it.
Awesome, Mindy. Thank you. All right, for phone bridge, we're going to have Marcia, if you can do 4 minutes.
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity to share and be part of the worldwide community. Our intention is to connect more deeply, directly, and intricately with Grey Source to nurture the entire phone bridge community and enable more people to receive the GreySheet message. We want to carry the message. Moreover, we hope to cultivate an environment where both newcomers and long-timers feel safe, want to share their voices, and actively participate. Who we are. You can find us on the telephone. The phone number is 712-432-5229, and the PIN number is 7708-498. And also on GreySheetMeetings.org. We want to be the front line of accessibility for newcomers, outposts, people on the go, people who do not want to be on camera for various reasons, and those who do not use the internet or do not have access. We have over 75 regular weekly meetings, daily between 5:30 a.m. and midnight Eastern. We also do marathons, and the next upcoming marathons will be Labor Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and winter holidays, New Year's. Currently, we are planning on transitioning to Google Workspace platform to ensure added anonymity and security for contact emails. We're also actively looking for more GSRs and group representatives at the intergroup meeting. We are also looking into ways how to encourage more regular donations. And we look forward to a continuing partnership with GSource. Upcoming in our September, October, November meeting, intergroup meetings, we are looking at the URLs that was suggested by GSource. That is being tabled, and so we will be addressing those in that issue in the upcoming months, and also the question about groups, whether the bridge is a group or an intergroup. That was tabled, and we will be addressed in September, October, or November. Also, we've noticed a decline in the attendance on the bridge, and we're hoping to work closely with the dashboard operator to see if this is true and how we can address this decline in attendance. Thank you.
The Northeast Intergroup, and that's Barbara. And if you could do less than 4, that'd be great. I want to allow time for Dahlia too. Okay.
No problem. Hi, everyone. Barbara L. again with my Northeast Intergroup hat. And I'm going to keep this brief in that I don't have any of the financial information at hand. But we are solid enough in the Northeast to vote that we did not want to assume the Southwest. No offense to Dottie if she's still on. That was a recent discussion that we had. And it speaks to, with the Northeast, and I'm going to say something that's potentially controversial, but just how we don't really have formal meetings. There's not that much of a connection with the Northeast Intergroup meetings and World Service. So it's just an interesting conversation to have with the board going forward about what the structure of some of these committees are, and especially now with Zoom. Again, this is just a wrench I'm throwing in. You know, what does that mean about the intergroups? So just leaving that there for people to marinate on. But aside from that, there are probably about 5 regular members who show up at Northeast Intergroup whenever we do have a meeting. We have not been that active. I guess I might take 3 minutes. There was a retreat up in the Boston area that was not planned by the Northeast Intergroup. So that was a little confusing. It was outside people, GreySheet abstinent. But, we want to do what Connecticut does. And that's our goal. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, so much. Dahlia, would you like to go? And let's do 4 minutes.
Gracias. Mi nombre es Dalia, comedora compulsiva, representante de la comunidad hispana. Y este es el primer intergrupo que se forma no por la ubicación geográfica, sino por el idioma. Y entonces tenemos miembros de varios países: México, Costa Rica, Perú, Ecuador, Venezuela, Uruguay, Panamá, de Estados Unidos, Francia, Colombia, España, República Dominicana, Canadá, Argentina, El Salvador, de Israel, de Nicaragua y de Puerto Rico. Para mí es un honor venir a presentar a todos estos países en GreySheet. Y les platico de que nuestro grupo inició en un grupo de libro Vivienda Abstinente en Telegram en el 26 de junio del 2021. Y ya para el siguiente año se registró el intergrupo el 3 de diciembre del 2022. Somos una comunidad nueva, realmente nueva, estamos aprendiendo. Nuestro primer intergrupo basado en el idioma y no en la ubicación geográfica. Contamos actualmente con miembros de 1 año a 4 años de abstinencia en la GreySheet continua. 30 miembros aproximadamente estamos prestando servicios en reuniones y comités. Nuestras reuniones virtuales y presenciales todos los días, por lo menos tenemos una reunión cada día. Y nos puedes encontrar en la página web Viviendo Abstinente, es GSA Info, y en reuniones. Sí se alcanza a ver el cambio de la presentación, ¿verdad? Ok. Nuestros intergrupos está formado por los siguientes grupos. Al despertar se reúne todos los días de lunes a sábado, 6:30 de la mañana. Al transcurrir el día es una reunión, es un grupo de lunes a sábado a las 3 de la tarde, hora de Ciudad de México. El cafecito todos los días tiene reuniones a las 7 de la mañana, 12 del mediodía, 7 de la tarde, hora de República Dominicana. 90 días es un grupo que se presenta los miércoles a las 12, hora de Ciudad de México. Nuestro otro grupo de meditación España, todos los días 10:30 de la noche. Juntos Podemos, que se reúne los domingos a las 10 de la mañana. Otro grupo de por la noche, que son los martes y los jueves a las 8 de la noche de Ciudad de México. Y tenemos un grupo presencial en Ciudad de México que se llama Presencial Reforma, los lunes, miércoles y viernes a las 7 de la tarde. Nuestra participación en la GreySheet Mundial, pues primero que nada es que tenemos 2 talleres en español. Este año nos reunimos en Guadalajara en el retiro del 7 al 9 de noviembre del 2025 y tenemos otro retiro en Madrid del 2026 del 20 al 22 de marzo. Cada reunión o evento de servicio organizado por la GS Mundial, si hay traducción al español, pues asistimos entre 6 y 12 personas. Nuestra participación también en los comités de literatura, de estructura, de traducciones, de archivo, de información al público, de la website y de comunicaciones. Nuestro intergrupo está actualmente donando $120 mensuales como séptima tradición. Este año se incrementó la aportación al año pasado. Tenemos organización de maratones de habla hispana en eventos especiales como Navidad, fin de año, Día del Amor y la Amistad, etc. En nuestras redes sociales tenemos reproducciones de compartir de otros miembros en el idioma en inglés, en hebreo, en francés, en islandés. Y...
That's 4 minutes.
Oh, ¿ya? Ok. Bueno. Tenemos redes sociales, chats, telegrams y nuestros propios comités. Ya voy a acabar. Lo que hacemos con la séptima tradición, cómo nos mantenemos. Y nuestro objetivo principal es que cada grupo, además de que es llevar el mensaje al común compulsivo, nuestro empeño es traducir al español el mensaje de la hoja gris, que está en inglés para los miembros de habla hispana. Y eso es todo. Gracias.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Dahlia. Thank you. All right, we have 1 minute left. So what I would like to do is I would just like to I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Are there any announcements, Grania, and the 7th tradition information's in the chat. Are there any announcements, Grania, that need to be given?
No, the only upcoming World Service thing to know about is if you are registered as a delegate, you will have delegate training in October for how to participate in the conference meeting on the 26th of October. So you can register for that and hope to see you there. It'll be translated too.
Okay, and I will save my wonderful things to say about Grania for the World Service Conference meeting. So please be there if you're a delegate and you're registered. Okay, it is 9:30. Thank you, everyone, Pacific time. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And I don't want to, we don't have time for a serenity prayer, but thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.
No matter what.